Your bedtime routine might be quietly weakening your muscles. No snacks, no fuel, no repair. Seniors who skip this one fruit at night lose strength faster and never realize why. This is the silent issue I've seen for decades. Seniors focus on movement and nutrition during daylight hours, but unknowingly undermine muscle repair at night. And the terrifying part? You don't feel it happening. You only notice it months or years later, when standing up feels harder, balance feels shakier, and mornings begin with stiffness that never used to be there. In my years of practice, one voice that always stayed with me was Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara, a legendary physician who worked with patients well past the age of 100. His philosophy was simple, but profound. He said, "Nighttime is when the body does its maintenance, not its work." That sentence alone explains why so many well-intentioned seniors are losing muscle despite staying active. During the day, your body performs. At night, it repairs. And after 60, that repair process becomes fragile. If the body doesn't feel safe, fueled and calm during sleep, it doesn't rebuild muscle. It breaks it down. Here's the part most people find uncomfortable, so doctors often soften it. I won't. After 60, muscle loss accelerates most during sleep, not during activity. While you're lying still, your body can slip into a catabolic state, a biological emergency mode, where stress hormones rise and muscle tissue is quietly sacrificed for energy. This isn't failure, it isn't weakness, and it certainly isn't just aging, it's timing. Another physician I respect deeply, Dr. Peter Attia, has been very clear about this. Longevity does not depend on movement alone. It depends on preserving muscle quality and recovery. Muscle is not just strength, it's balance, glucose control, fall prevention and independence. Lose it, and aging accelerates fast. Now here's the good news, and this is where people lean in when I tell them in my office. There is one specific fruit, nothing exotic, nothing expensive, that when eaten the right way before sleep can support muscle repair, improve sleep quality, and help protect your physical resilience as you age, not during the day, not as a snack between meals, but at night, when your biology is most vulnerable and most receptive. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 4 critical insights. Each one builds on the last. And at the end, I'll explain why this fruit works better at night than during the day, especially after 60. This isn't about supplements. It isn't about gimmicks. It's about understanding how your aging body actually works, when no one is watching and when it matters most. There is a belief that quietly settles in over the years. It sounds reasonable, almost comforting. The idea that muscle loss only happens when the body stops moving, when people become inactive, when they slow down. But what I've seen again and again tells a very different story. Many older adults stay active. They walk daily. They garden. They move their bodies far more than people half their age. And yet, year after year, they feel subtly weaker. Legs don't feel as reliable. Getting out of a chair takes more effort. Morning stiffness becomes part of life. Not dramatic, just persistent. The explanation lives in the hours no one thinks about. After 60, the body's relationship with nighttime changes. Sleep is no longer a simple off switch. It becomes a vulnerable metabolic window. When the body goes too long without fuel and sleep quality is less than ideal, stress chemistry quietly rises. Cortisol, the primary stress hormone, begins to dominate the night. Cortisol has a purpose. It keeps blood sugar stable. It helps the brain stay supplied with energy. But it has a cost. When cortisol stays elevated overnight, muscle protein breakdown increases, while repair signals weaken. Growth and rebuilding are postponed. Tissue maintenance becomes incomplete. This is not dramatic destruction. It's subtle erosion. Think of nighttime like a construction site that only opens after dark. During the day, materials are delivered and damage accumulates. At night, the repair crews arrive. But without enough fuel, they work slower. They leave early. Some jobs remain unfinished. Over months and years, those unfinished repairs become visible as weakness, stiffness, and loss of confidence in movement. That's why so many people describe the same pattern: active days, quiet nights, and mornings that feel a little worse than the year before. The body was never idle. It was undersupported during its most important repair window. This isn't about fear. It's about clarity. Muscle loss after 60 is not only about what happens when you move. It's also about what happens when you rest. Nighttime biology determines whether sleep becomes a rebuilding phase or a slow withdrawal from your strength reserve. Understanding this changes everything. If you want clear, honest guidance on protecting your muscles and sleep as you age, without hype or trends, subscribe to this channel. These are the conversations most people never hear, but everyone needs. Even when people sense that nighttime matters, the instinct is often to add something small before bed. A little bite, a harmless treat, something that feels comforting at the end of the day. On the surface, this seems reasonable. The body has gone hours without food. A snack should help. But biology doesn't respond to intention. It responds to signals. Many typical bedtime foods create exactly the wrong internal environment for repair. Sugary snacks send blood sugar upward too quickly. The body answers with insulin. Insulin lowers blood sugar, but it also disrupts the deep sleep stages where repair chemistry is strongest. Sleep may continue, but it becomes shallow, fragmented, less restorative. Heavier foods create a different problem. Digestion demands blood flow and metabolic attention. Instead of directing energy toward tissue repair and growth hormone release, the body stays partially awake internally. Growth hormone, which muscles rely on overnight, is blunted. Repair is delayed. Recovery remains incomplete. The result often feels confusing. Sleep happens, eyes close, hours pass, but the night doesn't feel nourishing. Morning arrives without the sense of renewal that used to come naturally. Picture a repair crew finally arriving at the worksite, only to find the lights flickering and the power unstable. Tools don't function properly. Communication breaks down. The crew leaves with the job half finished. The building stands, but its integrity quietly weakens. Over time, this pattern reinforces itself. Night after night, the body is placed in a mixed signal state, stimulated enough to interfere with deep repair, but not supported enough to rebuild. Muscle tissue becomes the silent casualty. What matters here is not eating versus not eating. It's whether the body receives a message of safety and stability or one of disruption. Nighttime chemistry is delicate, especially after 60. Small inputs can shift the entire direction of repair. This sets the stage for understanding why one specific food behaves very differently from the rest. Fruit has developed an undeserved reputation at night, especially later in life. Many people associate it with sugar stimulation or blood sugar instability. That belief didn't come from nowhere, but it doesn't apply equally to all fruit. One fruit behaves very differently in the aging body. Kiwi has a unique biochemical profile that quietly aligns with nighttime physiology. It contains naturally occurring serotonin, along with antioxidants and gentle carbohydrates that the body processes slowly. This combination matters far more than most people realize. Serotonin is not a sleep drug, it's a signal. It tells the nervous system that the environment is safe, predictable, and calm. After 60, that signal becomes harder to generate internally. Stress chemistry tends to dominate. Cortisol stays elevated longer into the night. Sleep onset becomes delayed, and awakenings become more frequent. Kiwi nudges the chemistry in the opposite direction. Not forcefully, not artificially, gently. The carbohydrates in kiwi are modest and paired with fiber, so blood sugar rises slowly and settles smoothly. There is no sharp spike, no sudden crash. This steadiness reduces the need for cortisol to intervene overnight. When cortisol quiets down, muscle tissue is less likely to be broken down for emergency fuel. Antioxidants add another layer. Overnight, the body clears metabolic waste and repairs microscopic damage from the day. Oxidative stress interferes with that process. Kiwi's antioxidant content supports a cleaner internal environment, allowing repair signals to work more efficiently. The experience many people describe is subtle but consistent. Fewer awakenings during the night. Less of that wired, tired feeling. Mornings that feel slightly more stable. Legs that feel steadier getting out of bed. Not dramatic changes, reliable ones. The best part is how unassuming it is. No stimulation, no heaviness, no interference with digestion. Kiwi acts more like a biological whisper than a command. In a system as sensitive as the aging nervous and muscular system, whispers are often more powerful than shouts. Timing is one of the most underestimated forces in human biology. The body does not respond to nutrients, signals, or hormones in isolation. It responds to when they arrive. After 60, this timing sensitivity becomes sharper, not weaker. The same input that feels neutral during the day can become decisive at night. During daylight hours, the body is oriented toward output. Muscles are prepared for movement. The brain prioritizes alertness. Hormones are arranged around action, decision-making, and stress tolerance. Cortisol naturally runs higher. Serotonin is used as a raw material for focus and mood stability. Muscle tissue is not in repair mode, it is in use mode. Night reverses that hierarchy. As light fades, the nervous system begins to turn inward. External demands lessen. The body scans for safety signals. If those signals are present, cortisol declines, sleep deepens, and repair chemistry takes over. If they are absent, the body stays guarded. Even if sleep occurs, it becomes lighter, more fragmented, and less restorative. This shift matters enormously for muscle preservation after 60. At night, muscle tissue is no longer supported by frequent meals or constant movement. Blood sugar must remain stable without constant input. If the body senses instability, it compensates by releasing cortisol. Cortisol keeps glucose available, but it does so by breaking down tissue. Muscle becomes a convenient reservoir. This process is quiet. It does not cause pain. It does not wake anyone up dramatically. It simply chips away at muscle quality over time. What makes kiwi uniquely effective at night is not a single nutrient, but how its compounds align with this fragile window. Kiwi contains naturally occurring serotonin and serotonin-supportive compounds. At night, serotonin plays a different role than it does during the day. It becomes a stabilizer. It helps initiate sleep and supports the conversion to melatonin. More importantly, it signals to the brain that conditions are safe enough to stand down stress responses. That signal carries more weight at night because the nervous system is listening for it. During the day, the signal competes with light exposure, activity, and cognitive demand. At night, those competitors fade. The same biochemical whisper becomes audible. Kiwi's carbohydrates also behave differently in this context. They are modest in quantity and paired with fiber, which slows absorption. This produces a gentle, steady rise in blood sugar rather than a spike. The body interprets this as availability rather than urgency. Cortisol is not recruited. Muscle tissue is left intact. This is a critical distinction. The body does not break down muscle because food is absent. It breaks down muscle because it senses instability. Kiwi reduces that sense of instability without triggering stimulation. Antioxidants add another layer of support. Overnight repair generates oxidative byproducts. In younger bodies, clearance is efficient. With age, oxidative stress lingers longer and interferes with tissue rebuilding. Kiwi's antioxidant profile helps reduce that interference, allowing repair signals to complete their work instead of being interrupted. What emerges over time is a subtle but meaningful shift in nighttime physiology. Sleep becomes more consolidated. The nervous system spends less time in a guarded state. Cortisol retreats earlier and stays lower through the night. Muscle tissue is preserved rather than borrowed from. This explains why timing matters so much. Consumed earlier in the day, kiwi's effects are scattered across competing systems. Light suppresses melatonin pathways. Activity demands glucose. The nervous system is externally focused. The fruit is still nutritious, but its signaling power is diluted. At night, the same fruit enters a quieter system. Signals travel further, responses are cleaner. The body is prepared to interpret small inputs as meaningful guidance. Over the course of a week, changes often appear gradually. Sleep depth increases slightly before sleep duration does. Morning stiffness eases before strength noticeably improves. These shifts are easy to overlook unless one is paying attention, but they accumulate. The most important aspect is what doesn't happen. There is no stimulation, no heaviness in digestion, no disruption to sleep architecture. The body is not forced into repair. It is allowed into it. This distinction matters deeply after 60. Aging muscles do not fail because they are lazy. They fail because the environment no longer reliably supports repair. Rest becomes less restorative. Stress signals linger too long. Tissue maintenance is postponed night after night. Kiwi works best before sleep because it speaks the language the aging body understands at that hour. It offers calm availability rather than urgency. It reduces the need for emergency compensation. It supports repair without demanding attention. After a certain age, progress no longer comes from adding more effort. It comes from removing friction, creating conditions where the body can do what it already knows how to do, quietly and efficiently. When nights become gentler, mornings often follow. Strength feels less borrowed and more owned. The body stops negotiating with itself overnight. It simply repairs. And that, more than anything else, is what preserves muscle after 60. Aging rarely takes strength away all at once. More often, it withdraws it quietly, in small increments, especially at night, when the body is supposed to restore itself. That is why so many people feel they are doing everything right during the day, and still notice a slow loss of stability, confidence, and ease in the morning. Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara understood this better than most. He believed the body heals best when it feels supported rather than strained. His view of aging was not about fighting the body, but cooperating with it. Night, in his words, was not empty time. It was maintenance time. When nights are calm and well supported, the body can quietly repair what the day has worn down. This matters because muscle is not just tissue, it is protection. It stabilizes joints, preserves balance, and allows movement to feel natural instead of calculated. When nighttime chemistry is unsettled, muscle becomes expendable. Stress hormones linger, repair slows. Over time, mornings feel less reliable, even if sleep hours look adequate on paper. That is why Dr. Peter Attia emphasizes muscle quality as a cornerstone of long-term independence. Muscle determines whether standing up is effortless or cautious, whether walking feels steady or uncertain. Preserving it is not about athleticism. It is about dignity. What often brings relief is realizing that this process does not require intensity or complexity. It is not about pushing harder or adding more interventions. It is about creating conditions where the body no longer needs to compensate overnight. When stress signals recede and sleep chemistry stabilizes, muscle no longer has to be sacrificed for survival. This is where timing-specific nourishment quietly fits. Not as a cure-all, not as a supplement, but as a signal. A message to the nervous system that energy is available and urgency is unnecessary. When that message arrives at the right time, the body responds by repairing instead of borrowing from itself. The changes that follow are rarely dramatic. They show up as mornings that feel slightly easier, less stiffness before the first steps, more confidence rising from a chair. These are small shifts, but they accumulate and they matter. Aging does not mean the body forgets how to heal. It means the signals must be clearer. When nights become gentler, the body often responds with steadier strength, not loudly, not suddenly, but quietly, in the way real resilience is built and maintained over time. Subscribe for calm nights and stronger mornings.